Hi, welcome to these Organic Devotions, a series of weekly reflections that emerge from life here on the farmstead and life lived in pursuit of wonder and reverence and awe. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. We are in the midst of the season of ordinary time in the church's peculiar way of accounting for the passage of days. It's the season that follows the brighter seasons of Easter time and Pentecost in the spring, and before the wondrous time of Advent begins to prepare us for Christmas. Those other glitzier seasons in the church's year only occupy a day or a month or maybe at the most 6 weeks, while ordinary time spans a full 6 months of the calendar, grounding us in the reality that most of our days aren't spent gathered around festive meals or blowing out candles or unwrapping presents. Most days are, well, ordinary. The prairie in these latter weeks of summer embodies that. A cursory glance reveals a kind of tiredness there. The bright blossoms that animated it earlier in the season have browned and shriveled, leaving it all looking kind of spent. But the prairie is a fascinating ecosystem. Sure, some flowers have come and gone, but others are just emerging. And native grasses with deep roots and a more patient growth rate are just coming into their own. Highly diverse, it's a riot of species, both nourishing to the soil and the pollinators who feed there. It can, let's admit it, look a little messy, but it's beautiful in its own way. Quite a contrast to most of the fields around us. Uniform stretches of single crops rolling out like oceans across the acres. Feels like these have an attractiveness of their own, but they have their limitations as well. While prairies are constantly growing deeper and more resilient, perennially renewing and replanting themselves while holding and replenishing the soil, feels like these must be replanted afresh every year you want them to grow. Annuals, their root systems are shallower, making them more susceptible to droughts and storms. Constantly hungry, they deplete the soil, which must be repeatedly restocked with the basic essentials through fertilizers. And monocrops, they're vulnerable to single bugs or diseases that can decimate an entire field. We've come to depend on fields like these and have designed various remedies to counter their vulnerabilities. But perhaps the prairies and all of their wild and messy hardiness can remind us of the critical importance of complex living systems like our neighborhoods and congregations and communities. To be strong and nourishing and resilient, we need all kinds of people contributing all kinds of gifts, cultivated by all kinds of backgrounds and honed by all kinds of experiences. The Apostle Paul understood that. Comparing our communities to the human body, he noted that the body doesn't consist of one member, but of many. If the foot would say, "Because I'm not a hand, I don't belong to the body," that wouldn't make it any less a part of the body. If the ear would say, "Because I'm not an eye, I don't belong to the body," that wouldn't make it any less a part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole body were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? But as it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them, as he chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many members, yet one body. Wander out, then, into this wonderful prairie of life, complicated and diverse, but thereby strong and resilient and rich and deep. Life in a cornfield would be so monotonously dull by comparison. I would love to hear about the prairies in which you are rooted. You can email me at organicdevotions@gmail.com. And until next week, do something out of the ordinary. Strike up a conversation with someone new and seemingly different, and give thanks for the wonderful diversity they add to the soil of your life. Bye-bye.